Today, in the third episode of the war in Ukraine, we're going to be talking about the Ukrainian counteroffensives and the next stages of the conflict. So let's begin in the north. In the north, Russian troops have completely abandoned their assault on Kiev and the cities of Chernihiv and Sumy. There have been many atrocities discovered, particularly on the outskirts of Kiev. However, it seems that, at least for now, fighting in this region is done. The Russian pullback has allowed the Russians to rearm their soldiers on the borders of Belarus and Russia with Ukraine. They have also redirected many of these troops south and east, which we're going to talk about later. Now, moving to the next most important area of this conflict is the south. In the south, the Russians, as I previously explained, were attempting to take Zaporizhzhia and Mykolaiv. However, their attack on Mykolaiv was obviously stopped, as we went over last time, and not much has changed. The Ukrainians have begun small counteroffensives to take back areas on the outskirts of Kherson, as well as some counteroffensives south of Zaporizhzhia. However, once again, just like in the north, fighting here seems to have stopped, although there is no signs of any potential Russian pullback. Noted here is Odessa. Odessa is a Ukrainian port city that Russia wants. It has a large population of ethnic Russians and is very close to the border of Transnistria. Transnistria is a breakaway Moldovan region with a large Russian influence and is effectively its own government. It still maintains that it is communist and has links to many former KGB officers in the region. There are also Russian troops in Transnistria, and if Putin wanted to create a section of Ukraine that would be useful for Russia, he would like to connect it to Transnistria. It remains to be seen if any further Russian advances will go towards Odessa, Mykolaiv, Zaporizhzhia, or any other city in the south. But for now, it seems to have stopped. Which brings us to our final and most important area, eastern Ukraine. Eastern Ukraine, as I previously explained, had already experienced conflict. Of the Ukrainian states, the states of Donetsk, Kharkiv, and Luhansk were the three states with the largest populations of Russians in terms of percentage. While Crimea had already been taken by Russia, there are sizable amounts of Russians in these three areas. And Putin's supposed goal of his war was to protect Russians in Ukraine, who he claimed were being attacked by a genocidal Nazi Ukrainian government. And for now, the Russians haven't made as much progress as they had thought, but they have made a lot. Their attacks on Kharkiv continue to escalate, while further southeast in Luhansk, the Russians are preparing a large amount of troops, particularly at the city of Izium. Izium, as seen here, it was just captured recently on the 5th of April, and the Russians have amassed upwards of 15,000 troops in the area. Additionally, with the fall of Mariupol in the very south seeming very imminent, the Russians could try a pincer movement to possibly take Dnipro or Pavlograd or another area such as Sloviansk further in the east of Ukraine. This would encircle many Ukrainian forces fighting in the Donbass, the region that Putin wants for Russia, and would probably ensure a defeat of Ukrainian forces. But there seem to be three possible outcomes. Outcome number one is, of course, Russia loses. Russia losing would entail a lost battle, such as they tried to encircle in Dnipro, and they failed to take it. The Ukrainians pushed them back out of the country. Ukraine wins, Putin's humiliated. However, Putin is unlikely to agree to any situation or scenario where Russia would lose, especially losing land that they had previously sort of owned, with puppet governments that were backed by Russia controlling significant area in Donetsk and Luhansk. The second option, of course, is sort of a Ukrainian victory, although it's much more of a stalemate. Russia succeeds in taking Donetsk and Luhansk, maybe some of the Kharkiv Oblast, which is a Ukrainian state as well. However, they do not actually take control of the country. This scenario is increasingly rivaling the first scenario that I described in terms of could it happen. And of course, the last option is a full Russian victory. Russia takes control over Ukraine and establishes a puppet government. This, as I described in the first section of the video, is nearly impossible. Northern Ukraine has been liberated, the attack on Kiev thwarted, and much of eastern and southern Ukraine still lies in Ukrainian hands, not to mention western Ukraine, which is, for the most part, a safe region with no potential Russian attacks. What do you think will happen next? Leave a like and respond in the comments with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.